this is Dan, and welcome back to Invest, Rent to Own. I'm excited to teach you today about the lease agreement. Again, it's my mission to teach you all that you can do for rental real estate, specifically in rent to own, so that you can acquire as much as possible to live the life that you want to live. Free of employment, free of location, and to just maximize your life. So again, let's get to the business end. Appreciate you watching today, and let's get into it. So this one is focused on filling out the lease agreement. So I've got my example lease agreement here, and you can find this for free down at the link below. And you just sign up, give me your email address so that you can see some future products that we'll be offering, and you can download this free for your own personal use. You'll see that it is specifically, it has Ohio in it. I do most of my business in Ohio, and so it just has Ohio in it. You can change it to whatever state. It's going to work no matter what. So, starting at the top are a few just basic things of the dates. You put in your name. I use an LLC, and then the tenant's name. The location of the property, what county it's in, and the address. A little bit of legalese, and this is where you get a lot of information that you'll want to make sure is right. The majority of deals that I'm doing now are 2-year lease option deals, and so this is set up as a 2-year lease option deal. You'll see that it's just over 2 years of the lease. This is the one that I most recently did. And so I've just sanitized it a little bit, but it still has some of the dollar figures from that deal in it and the dates. So they'll be moving in the 15th of November, and then their lease ends the 31st of January. Here in paragraph 2, you see that we've got the rent totals. So this example paperwork, again, I think I may have gotten this from some kind of legal page on the internet, probably paid maybe $5 or $10 for it. I'm sharing it with you for free. Hopefully I'm doing that legally. I'm not exactly sure, but I've used it for, I can't even tell you how many years, and it stood up in court, and it is been just very easy to use. So you have here the total rent. That is $19.50 a month times 24 is what that total is. I also will have this section here. It is very frequent that rentals don't always start and end on the first or the end of the month, that kind of thing. So I like to have a little slush period in here. You'll see that in this particular case, because you'll see later that I have the down payment, which is $5,000, I think, in this case. And so a lot of people, when they say, well, if I'm going to give you $4,000 or $5,000, I'm not going to want a payment immediately. And so that's what the case was when this was. They were going to give me $5,000 on the 15th of November, and the first payment was going to be due the 1st of December. And so that tenant came to me and said, hey, would it be all right with you if we had our first payment during the 1st of January? I said, fine. It really doesn't matter over the long course of things. The fact that I'm selling and buying and selling so many properties just to give them another month free up front is fine by me. So that's where I make this, the fact that it goes 15 November to the 31st of January and due the 1st of January. It gives them the ability to occupy as soon as the 15th of November, and that their first payment is due at the 1st of January. And so that I set the date of the 31st of January here so that it allows 24 months of payments. I think I did that. I may be 1 month off on that one, actually. Damage deposit, I don't ask any damage deposit. Use of premises, I usually end up leaving that blank just because I don't collect that up front. If you did an application or something like that and collected what their spouse's name or what their children's name, then you would fill that in as well. I've had some tenants that are enrolling kids in school, and they come back to me saying, hey, can we add such and such kid? And we do it. No big deal. Condition of premises. This is important. They accept the condition as is. I sell a lot of foreclosures, and so it's important that I protect myself. The condition is as is. They're not allowed to sublet it. That's what number 6 says. They're not allowed to give it to somebody else without me knowing about it. Bunch of other legalese. They're responsible for utilities. They can't store anything that's going to be hazardous. 10 has got standard lease stuff about that they've got to take care of the place on their own. I make it very clear as we get to the bottom here in this paragraph 11p that tenant shall be responsible for all repairs. And I'm interested in just the money aspect of it. I don't like being bogged down with requests for doing repairs, and so that is the clause that I have in there. And I make it clear to them. I'm not playing any gotcha games, but this is a rent-to-own. They should treat and care for the house themselves. Some more standard stuff in the lease, that I'm allowed to inspect it if I wanted to. Animals, I've sometimes had tenants say, hey, I've got more than one dog, cat, or bird. I'm not picky about it. It's their house, not for business use. That's protect you for any unnatural activity, drug activity, daycares, that kind of things that you would need to carry additional insurance potentially against. Default, you can kick them out if they don't make their payments. Late charge, $100 late charge, non-sufficient funds fee. Again, a lot of just things to protect you. They can't record it, so on and so forth. We're getting towards the end here. Notice, if you have to give them notice or them notice, you've got to provide your address and their address. So that's highlighted there. And then signatures. So that more or less is the lease. Okay. I add an extra page just for duplexing because that's would make 8 pages there now total. So that this option to purchase is a 2-page on the back end. This is where the lease to own, the rent to own comes together. You list their name, the property, the purchase price is where this is the purchase price that they will purchase the house for in 2 years. You're saying that it's in 2 years by using this 24 months in paragraph B. I also have down here that for each on-time payment, they get $100 per payment towards their closing. This is where the down payment is in paragraph A. $5,000 is due, $2,500, which will apply to their purchase in closing. $1,000 that is due, so I break up. When is it due? $1,000 due now, $4,000 due later, or move in whichever is sooner. I also put a clause in here on C that they can extend this agreement unilaterally by paying an additional fee, and you may want to adjust this dollar amount, and an increase in monthly rent. I do both so that they understand that if they want to move forward, it's going to cost them a little more. I'm trying to motivate them to close this deal. That's when I make the most money, when they close. Expiration of when the option expires. This is again my address so that they can give notice when they're ready to purchase it. I rarely have had people actually send me a letter. They usually send me an email or text or something like that. But legal form follows standard legal stuff. I also, additional provisions, I do a lot, and so of foreclosures, straight from foreclosures to rent to owns. And so when I do that, I usually have a clause in here where I'm selling the house that I've never shown it to them at all. And in this case, it's subject to their walkthrough of the house. I think that that's very fair. I have some people that will tell me that it's a scam. Yes, it is a little bit of a risk to be able to, for them to pay $1,000 and not see the house for several months. I understand that that's a concern, but honestly, I'm an upstart guy. They can check my references. I build rapport with people, and so this is how I enforce it more or less. That they give me $1,000, but within their walkthrough, 48 hours of their walkthrough, if they don't want the house, they can walk away and get their money back, and I'll terminate the entire thing. I have only, in the last year or so, I have only, out of 30-some deals, had one person walk away from the house. And they were just relocating from New Jersey to Ohio, and it wasn't about the house, it was more about Dayton, Ohio that they were concerned about. So I gave them their $1,000. We departed friends, and I sold the house later within 3 days to a different family. No big deal. Okay, so that's the rent-to-own agreement. This is specifically the 2-year lease option agreement. I'm excited. If you got any questions, you can put it down in the comments and I'll answer them. And please like this video and subscribe as well. Look forward to talking to you all again.